They are trying to change human rights into something that promotes the common good, opposed to human rights that speaks to the personal autonomy of the human. This is crazy. It's 123 pages, I believe. It's really long. I took a couple pages out though, because a lot of it's fluff. A lot of it's just like, you know how these kind of documents are. But I took out a couple pages that are really, really important, and I want you guys to see. This is huge. This is huge. So this, yeah, March 2022. So this is on the table right now, guys. Look to the UK for a lot of, I see the, I know people say America is the world leader. UK is extremely influential in so many ways, right? We can even just look at the Crown, for instance. The UK is a big deal, okay? It's a testing ground, just like the United States, California, New York, testing grounds. UK is too, big time. Some would even argue UK is a lot more powerful. It's a debate. We don't have to get into it. But it's interesting how they don't have the type of constitution and liberty that America has. So the thing that I find frustrating or disturbing about the UK is they have the ability to actually override certain aspects of freedom and human rights. And if they accomplish this, it's really just going to set the tone for what will happen to all countries later. So we always have to look to the UK, even though if these things aren't happening in America, we have to look to Australia, we have to look to the UK, and we have to see what's going on there, because those things will come to these shores, to this soil. They will. USA is UK little brother, SMH. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, piloted the US for a long time, says Chris. Yes, absolutely. So let me show you this, man. This right here pissed me off, dude, because if they accomplish this, we will really see this like MOTB thing, Mark of the Beast system, come quickly. Because if this goes through, they will have the opportunity to make any reality they want. Let me show you why I mean that. All right, let's look at this. Where is it? There it is. All right, so first I will read, I'll read part of the executive summary, okay, because number 6 is most important. But let's just go from the top. This command paper sets out and seeks views on the government's proposals to revise and replace the Human Rights Act of 1998 with a Bill of Rights. Now, I'm American. I don't know the history of the UK in this regard as far as all these documents are concerned. I don't know how all of this was built up. I don't know anything about the Human Rights Act of 1998. But I do know there's certain parts of this that don't sound right and sound very suspicious to me. All right. So I'm just showing you guys this for your own understanding, and take it how you will. But something about this is extremely suspicious, especially the timing. Why are you trying to revise a Human Rights Act during a time where we are literally fighting for our human rights? It doesn't, well, it makes a lot of sense to me. All right. The government's 2019 manifesto pledged to update the Human Rights Act and administrative law to ensure there is a proper balance between the rights of individuals, our vital national security, and effective government. Very socialist. Yes, what this speaks to is communitarianism. When I read this, it's like, oh, you're trying to shift to a type of communitarian society. That's really what this is. And they're going to do it under the guise of selfishness, the irrationality of independent thinking. That's what I get out of this paper. So let me just go down to 6, because this is what matters. The Bill of Rights will make sure a proper balance, listen to the words, a proper balance, that's so vague, and you know it's only going to fulfill what they want, right? It's going to be one-sided. Proper balance is struck between individuals' rights, personal responsibility, and the wider public interest. Public interest is such a dangerous term, Because public interest speaks to this idea of public opinion, which isn't a real thing. It's a media generated concept. It's an idea. Public opinion doesn't exist in any real, tangible capacity. There are just levels of perspective. There is not, and even who kind of coined it, Littman, Walter Littman. Read his work, Public Opinion. I mean, I think he wrote in the 20s, 30s. I mean, there is no public opinion. It's an idea, and it's used to shape the thinking of people. You know, polls, for instance. Any poll you see, whether it be through this COVID thing or political polls, it's all manipulated. It's all designed to create perspective. It's perspective management, right? So whenever I hear public interest, it's like, oh, I know what this is. I know exactly what this is. And you are the ones that define public interest, right? It will strengthen the role of the UK Supreme Court in the exercise of the judicial function, preserve Parliament's democratic prerogatives in the exercise of the legislative function, and support the integrity of the UK while respecting the devolution settlements. Well. Now, let me go to the next one. Oh, this one. This one is, oh man. A rights culture. So the government believes that these systematic problems, this is page 35 of the document. The government believes that these systematic problems with the current framework have manifested themselves in a number of ways, which our proposals will seek to address. A rights culture. Look at this. A rights culture that displaces personal responsibility and the public interest. What do you guys think that's speaking to? A rights culture? What do you think they mean by that? What do you think they mean by that? A rights culture. I think that might have to do with this new anti-everything, anti-juice, anti-mandate, anti-health pass. I think it's just this new movement where people are realizing their human rights are being taken from them. But you see how this is being used in a pejorative fashion? A rights culture. A rights culture that displaces personal responsibility and the public interest. So basically what they're trying to say is like this new rights culture, this new thing where people are fighting for rights, it's really displacing your personal, you're being irresponsible, you're being selfish, you lack empathy, and your behaviors don't have the public interest in mind. This is so manipulative. This is so disgusting when I saw this. I was like, oh, wow. Always going to the books, man. Legislation. Get people by the law. Right away, we start pushing. We start coming out with truth. They go to the books, man. They're like, we're going to stop all of this in its tracks by revisioning the Human Rights Act. Genius. Demonic, but genius. And maybe it's not genius. Maybe it's just expected from sick people. The International Human Rights Framework recognizes that not all rights are absolute and that an individual's rights may need to be balanced. Ooh, these people playing with fire right now. Y'all playing with fire. Either against the rights of others or against the wider public interest. Many of the rights in the convention are qualified, recognizing explicitly the need to respect the rights of others and the broader needs of society. Pay attention. Pay attention to these words right here. Many of the rights in the convention are qualified. Wow. Really, really, really now. This sounds like something a Brother Hulk would say. Now you have to requalify into society. Your old self of independence and human rights and personal autonomy, biological autonomy, bodily autonomy, those are all old ideas. Now you're unqualified with that worldview, with that belief system. You're unqualified in this new society that has updated its books. The idea that rights come alongside duties and responsibilities is steeped in the UK tradition of liberty, but is also reflected in the qualifications in the Convention and is explicit in Article 29 of the UN Declaration of Human Rights. Everyone has duties to the community in which alone the free and full development of his personality is possible. Oh, this is like, oh man. People got to start waking up, man. See, the reason I'm showing you this is because this is happening right now. This is on the table for discussion and will probably be passed or be accomplished, all under the guise of this alleged victory. We're sitting here getting all excited about, oh, restrictions have dropped. Oh, we don't have to wear masks anymore. Oh, they're not pushing the juice as much. Oh, we're standing up against the tyranny. We're fighting the power that be. Yet at the exact same time, stuff like this is undergoing, or should I say, is happening under our noses. So when all's said and done, they'll say, oh, we have new rules now, guys. Yeah, you had your little victory. Yeah, you didn't have to wear a mask for a few months. Yeah, we kind of put away those passes for a minute. We kind of put away those, even the forced, or should we say the required jabs. We did away with those for a while. Let you guys breathe a little bit. Let you guys enjoy yourselves. Kind of soften you up a little bit. Make you think that we're trustworthy. We're fair. We're fair. And then shortly thereafter, there's new laws on the books. There's a whole new system. And then all they have to do, well, before I drop that one, let me just finish this here. Sneaky bastards, forgive my French. Ooh, these people are sneaky. Since 2000, human rights claims have been brought by many people who have themselves showed a flagrant disregard for the rights of others. We have seen, for example, the right to respect for a family and private life used to avoid deportation by foreign offenders who have committed serious crimes. The case against the UK on the prisoner voting was originally brought by John Hurst, convicted of manslaughter for killing his landlady with an axe. This is all filler. We know what they're talking about. We know what they're getting at. We know what the purpose of this is. This is to get rid of anybody that's against this agenda. This is to get rid of anybody that's against forced inoculation, required inoculation, mandated inoculation and verification of that inoculation. This is to shut all of those people out of society legally. The government believes that the policy decision as to whether prisoners ought to vote in elections ought to lie with elected representatives rather than the courts. We have also seen the right to a family life used to challenge the separation of sexual partners in prison and to challenge the refusal of a telephone contact and inter-prison visits between a couple who married in one prison but were later separated. Other claims from prisoners, okay, we don't have to go into all of that. But this is, you guys read it for yourself. There's not enough to really prove anything because the way they write, it's so vague and it could go so many ways. But it's not hard to figure things out when you read stuff like this. The International Human Rights Framework recognizes that not all rights are absolute and that an individual's rights may need to be balanced either against the rights of others or against the wider public interest. Given the context of our time, the circumstances we're under, and that we've experienced over the past 2 years, that sentence right there is a smack in the face. And it's the timing and context of everything that I think very clearly demonstrates what this is about. This is event 2. What was it? Event 201. Remember how they had, and I've showed clips. They had that whole part about misinformation, and how are we going to get these people to shut up? How are we going to stop this misinformation? Because the misinformation is that which is creating the rights culture that they speak about. So basically, it's just an idea. 5D chess, guys. 5D chess. What if we're all being set up to feel comfortable, to feel like we're winning, to feel like we're going to get a respite, to feel like, you know what, maybe things are calming down, and maybe they are. But again, where are we on the whole narrative? Right? Maybe it's all just a part. We're just playing. We're in a certain part of the whole narrative that's leading us somewhere.